Got a channel update today. Not much, just trying to. It's been a while since I've really done anything. I have a computer now, so the videos should be going up in quality. I need to buy a capture card first, but I can get into PC gaming and find a program that can let me, do that. I've been doing a lot of Twitch stuff, but I'm trying to get a capture card so I can do both now. And I'll be able to find a program that'll let me edit videos better, so hopefully my quality will go way up. But I just wanted to get that out before I started the episode today. The topic today is the video game Star Wars Battlefront, designed by EA and DICE. Now, this is the third or the first Star Wars Battlefront game, depending on how you look at it, because there was 1 and 2 made back in 2004 and 2005 by LucasArts and I forget the other 3, Pandemic, and then whoever else were helped in that. They were totally different, and they dropped it, and they were going to make a third one or whatever several times, and it got dropped and picked up, and it, kind of got left alone until DICE and EA picked it up in 2015 and made this. And this game I love with all my heart and hate as much as I can at the very same time. There are so many things about this game that are amazing, and so many things that either DICE and EA cut corners with, or they didn't think very well on it, or whatever. And I'm going to try and go over a list of my opinion on what they could have done better, or what they did wrong, or just how they fucked up. Because there are some things that are just kind of like they could have done better, and there are some things that are just like, yeah, those guys fucked up. So, let me start with the most obvious. I understand that the maps are fucking huge, and the graphics are amazing, so it's going to take a while to start loading your map, but I haven't timed my map loading time yet. I've been meaning to, but it takes forever. Yes, anyone that plays with me, it takes for fucking ever for me to load into a game of Star Wars Battlefront. Everyone complains about this game. The only other game that I know that has a similar loading time is Battlefield 1. And they're both just ridiculous loading times. So Battlefield 1 has way bigger maps than this, so I don't know. So loading times are way too damn long. It's ridiculous. The second thing I want to touch on is the worst part of the game, and it's more not of gameplay, but as, UI and servers and shit. EA is known for having shitty fucking servers, but this is the hardest game that I've had trying to play with friends. This game makes it so difficult to play with 1, 2, 3, 4, as many friends as you want. It makes it more difficult than, running a marathon. It makes it so hard to play with friends in this game for several different reasons. First of all is the problem of when I create a party and invite people, I'll invite through the game. They have a game system where you can go in and, press Y to invite them, and they'll get a little alert on the top left of their screen. Or you can just invite them through the Xbox One guide menu. And I do both, and no one ever gets the invites. I've literally spammed my friends' invites, and they don't get the invites. It just doesn't go through. For whatever fucking reason, they try and invite me, it doesn't work. So we all have to restart our games and our consoles, which takes forever. Restart the whole game up again, and it will work. And then what will usually happen next is, we'll get everyone in the party, fingers crossed, we finally got it, right? We get our hopes up, we go to join a match, and, we find a match, and they have to join in. They can't just join, they have to press A to join in the game. And then when they do that, halfway through the loading screen, it will kick them out and say, lost connection to EA servers, and kick all my friends out. And then I can't let them join in progress, even if there's room for them, and I have to back out, which takes, another thing is it takes forever to load the main menu. Maybe I'm just an idiot, and I don't know how the systems work, but I don't know why would it take a long time to load the main menu. Either way, I have to back out to the main menu and pick them up again, which takes forever to get into the game. And, let's see what else. does it do with my friends not letting them join. It'll kick them out during the game too. But the main problem is getting people into the game and them not getting invites and them getting knocked out during the loading screen. Or they'll be in the main menu and they won't be able to connect to EA servers because EA servers are such trash. Moving on to more errors that this game has is, let's see, what do I want to even touch on right now? Let's talk about how EA and DICE fucked everyone over with the split screen. When they first were developing this game, they weren't even going to give us split screen, and everyone outraged, and they decided to give everyone split screen, but the way they did it was such a dick move. They only did it to shut everyone up. So, here, I'm going to show you. So, if you're here at the main menu, and to go to split screen, you have to do skirmish or missions. And you pick your mode, and here you would, you map, and then you can go to split screen, which is local co-op. Now, there are many things wrong. You can, if you go to online multiplayer, you can play all of these game modes here, which include Supremacy, Walker Assault, Fighter Squadron, Blast, Cargo, Drop Zone, Droid Run, Hero Hunt, Heroes vs. Villains, and Turning Point, including all the DLC specialties such as Infiltration, the Battle Station mode, Sabotage, and Extraction. Now, if you go to Skirmish, you get Walker Assault and Fighter Squadron. And on missions, you can play hero battles, but it's, it's not going to spawn as much troops. It only spawns I don't know, it's weird. They changed it up. I don't know what survival is and training is training. So why would they take all that out? Also, you can't play any of the expansion packs. You cannot play any expansion packs offline. You have to be online to get it. I'll show you. Skirmish. Oh, wrong one. Walker Assault. And that's it. So, even if you have the DLC, they totally screw you over, and they don't want to give it to you for local co-op. I don't know if it's a coding thing, or is it because they got lazy, and they don't actually care about the people who buy their game. They just care about their money. And you can't customize your character either. You just play as a regular trooper. So if you have the highest unlocks, like the, Death Star Trooper, you can't get it on local. Also, I don't know, it's retarded. I don't know why they would not give you these things in, co-op. There's no reason to, other than they didn't want to do the extra work. I don't know. Or is it because they're encouraging you to play online? It's not like that gives them more money or anything. Also, let's talk about their searching system. Their playlist make no sense whatsoever and is very aggravating. I'm going to sidetrack really fast. There are, I like to say, 3 main playing styles in this game. You've got your regular infantry, and then you've got your hero modes, and then you have, Fighter Squadron, or your space battles, or whatever you want to call them. And these are very, very different types. And I hate space battles because I'm trash at flying. They messed up the flying in this game. It's really retarded, and everyone has aim by it. You have to aim, get locked on, and then you can just shoot a missile and hold down right trigger, and they'll pretty much die as long as you keep locked on. I don't like it. It's annoying as hell. It's boring, and it messes up my KD. And when you're playing infantry and there's an enemy Luke Skywalker, just sitting at your spawn door on Bespin, and you go 0 and 9, that messes up your KD as well. So I think that they need to separate your kill-death ratio for regular Battlefront, and then Fighter Squadron, or whatever, air battles, and then your hero. If you're playing as a hero, and you get a kill, or you get killed by a hero, that should go to your hero KD, not... it's retarded. Because how is that fair? If you have a good KD and you get slaughtered by Luke Skywalker, that's not fair. Or if you're bad at flying and you're getting, and it even happens on Infiltration on Rogue One. If you go 7 and 12 on the flying mode and then you continue to the ground, you're going to keep that KD. That's not fair. That shouldn't roll over to your regular KD. But back to the playlist is, I love Rogue One. I got the game like a week before I saw Rogue One, and I absolutely loved it. So I needed to play this. I needed to play this map pack, and I hate the space battles. So the way that you would think that if you play Call of Duty, or if you play Call of Duty and you go to the Search and Destroy playlist, you are going to play nothing but Search and Destroy. If you play Battlefield 4 and go to the Rush playlist, you will play nothing but Rush. But if you go to here and you click on Walker Assault or Blast, you'll play a round or two of Walker Assault, and then it will loop back over to Infiltration. Everything, it's like every road leads to Rome. Every playlist leads to Infiltration. And Infiltration, the way that it's supposed to be like the movie. So you start out in space, and you have to, get the U-wing past the shields, and then you can go to land. So if I join Infiltration, 50% of the time, it's on the space battle. I don't know why the space battle is so popular, but it's always there. And then the other 50% of the time, I get into a regular mode, and it's either the game is half over or it's close to over, and then I play that, and then as soon as the game's over, it goes back to the space battle. And then I have to quit, load the main menu, and then come back, and then find a game again. So I don't play Rogue One as much as I would like to, because it's so, it discourages me from playing the game because of how screwy it is. And that's just the Rogue One. On the Death Star, it's the same way, because their main one is Battle Station. That includes 2 space battles, not just one. That's 2. You gotta attack the frigates, which didn't even happen in the movie. There were no Star Destroyers that had to be attacked outside the Death Star before they went in for their attack. It was completely vulnerable, whatever. And then you have to go on the Death Star, do something, and then come back and then bomb it. So I'm not even going to try and play Battle Station. I did it just for my achievements or whatever, and then I was done. And then Bespin only has 1 air mode, but Bespin's probably one of the only... Bespin and Outer Rim don't have too much of a problem with the space battles, but it's still pretty bad. Outer Rim is the only one that doesn't have a space battle, but the other 3 do. And if you pick 40-player modes or 12-player modes, you'll be playing... Even the normal modes. If I play Walker Assault, it's a little bit better than Rogue One. I'll probably play 2 or 3 rounds of Walker Assault, and then it will loop back to, like, something else, like Supremacy or something. And then if you play Heroes versus Villains or whatever, it'll go to Hero Hunt and the Droid Run. So you can't stay in a playlist. Or at least none of me and my friends can. We can't stay in a playlist. It doesn't let us. It moves us over. No game mode should move playlist. You shouldn't go from Walker Assault to Infiltration. If I want to play Walker Assault, I want to play Walker Assault. If I wanted to play Infiltration, I would have picked it. But I picked Walker Assault. So keep me in that playlist. And then they should have 2 types of Infiltration. Like, because Rogue One... Like, there's not too much you can do. Like, if you try and search for Blast or Turning Point, you're not going to find a game. No one plays it. People only play Infiltration and Walker Assault. So they should have a Rogue One DLC that has no flying. They need to offer a non-flying mode for every one. So if I wanted to play Death Star, it's going to be really hard for me to play the actual Death Star on foot. I'm going to be getting air games all the time. So they need to fix that. They really do. What's next? Okay, the private matches. In private match, I'll set up to have a, small game with my friends, and say I pick Palace Garage. And then I'll get the game set up, and then we'll load in, and then it's loading ice caves. I hate ice caves. It never loads the map that I tell it to. I don't know why the UI is so trash, but it never does what you tell it to. You pick something and it just totally disregards it. You pick Swamp Crash Site and you get Jawa Refuge. So you pick your map, and then it's going to load. And then it does this every time except for when if I were on Imperials and my friend was on Rebels and I pressed Start Game, it would swap him. And I would be on the Rebels and he'd be on the Imperials. And then when I try and counter and put myself on the Rebels, then it stays the same. So it just picks and chooses when it wants to switch. That doesn't make any sense. And And let's see, what else? There's tons of things to complain about on this game. And playing as a hero is one of the coolest things about this game. But what they need to do is, yeah, you can have the heroes. Well, Hero Hunt is just garbage. It's a garbage game mode. But Heroes versus Villains is really cool. But I think they should have 2. Because this is 12. But then only 3 people can be a hero. Rarely I've seen 4 heroes on a team, but either way, what it's supposed to be 3 heroes and 3 infantry, and then they take turns every round being a hero and being, no. What they need to do is either switch it or just have both. They could keep that and then add a second one, but they need to have what Overwatch has, the 3v3 elimination, and make it a 6-person game mode with 3 people on the Empire and 3 people on the Rebel Alliance. So then you don't have to sit there and take turns. That's really annoying, that's really aggravating, and it's not like the infantry really does much to the heroes anyways. It's kind of confusing because then you're trying to kill a hero and there's infantry there and it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. And I don't know why they decided to put 3 infantry on there, make it a 12-person game mode. Is it so they could put it in the 12-person playlist? It would just make so much more sense if they just made it 3v3 and you just go out there hero versus heroes and that was it. But they decided they needed to be 3 heroes, 3 villains, 3 infantry on both sides. Like, when you play it offline, you have the option to turn your infantry off. So I don't know why they wouldn't make a game mode where it's just heroes versus heroes. Plus, if you are playing heroes versus villains, my guess is you're playing it because it's almost impossible to find the hero spawns on the regular game. Or you just, you don't want to have to find them, or you don't want to have the risk of someone taking them. You just want to play heroes. That's all you want to do. Like, you're in a hero mood, for whatever reason, and you want to play heroes, and then you have to sit there and take turns. So that's really annoying. Oh, well, you can just start a private match. Then you gotta find... No, you should be able to go into it and do a 3v3 elimination mode, just heroes. That would make so much more sense. It really would. Let's also talk about this. This game has a lot of inconsistencies, so I want to bring this up as well. When we talk about the hero list, the heroes consist of... The default heroes are Luke, Leia, and Han Solo, and then the DLCs are 9nub, Chewbacca, Lando Calrissian, and Jyn Erso, and I think that's... I might be missing one. Well, let's think about this. 3, and then the Outer Rim added... 9nub, Bespin added, Chewbacca? No, that was Death Star. So I'm definitely missing someone on Bespin. Oh no, it's Lando. And okay, so I got them all. And then the Empire's default are Vader, Emperor, and Boba, adding Greedo, Dengar, Bossk, and Krennic. Now, the first inconsistency I want to talk about is with the bodyguards. When they added the base game, they only had 2 sets. Emperor Palpatine had his red royal guards, and Leia has her royal or honor guards. And then they added Krennic, and he has death troopers. Now, I don't know why they were so inconsistent on how the Empire has 2 and the Rebels have 1, and only those characters get guards. And it's like honestly, they should put guards for everyone. And it's not that it's not that hard to put guards on everyone. It really isn't. Vader could have elite stormtroopers with blue on them for the 501st, or he could have his own red guards or his own death troopers. That's okay if you copy some. I don't really care about that, but I think it's kind of cool that they put the guard system in there. Makes sense. You got this hero rolling out with his personal guard. That's kind of cool. What else could he... There's so many different people that they could have had Vader on. Vader had so many guards throughout the time. And then, let's see, with Luke, he could have honor guards as well, or he could have rebel soldiers. Han could have, hired mercenaries. All the bounty hunters on the villain side, they could have assassin droids, or more hired bounty hunters, or mercenaries, or something. You could just make up bounty hunters, or the pirates from the Outer Rim for, Greedo and Dengar could have, Outer Rim pirates, and Bossk could have more of his species. I'm forgetting the name. I think it starts with a T. But he could have his species behind him. Boba Fett could have, some clones he found and took. Or Mandalorian armored bounty hunters or something. Krennic has his Death Troopers. Lando definitely could have had some Bespin guards with him. He could have had, you know, something like that. And then, who else? Chewbacca. Chewbacca could have Wookiee guards with him. Like, it's not very hard. They could have made guards for everyone, and it would have been really cool. But they just stopped to do 3. That's very random and odd. And with the hero battles, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader are kind of OP against everyone else. Because, I mean, if you're good, yeah, you can get them. But if you're getting teamed up on, it's not going to happen. Especially since Luke and Darth Vader can just spam right trigger and slash you down. And you can't do anything while doing that. So, if you get too close, you're done. Plus, Luke has way too much mobility. He is the most mobile person ever. I think Bosk is the most mobile on the Empire. And Vader would be just as good as Luke, other than his suit holds him back. So it's kind of weird that they've got these 2 overpowered characters with the rest. And I know there's counters and stuff, but it's kind of like just circumstances. And one-on-one you'd be able to take them down, but with infantry or other heroes it's hard. And then Palpatine's like middle of the road, because he's not like Dengar or Krennic, but he's also not like Vader, you know? He's kind of in the middle. He can block everything with the Force because he's Force sensitive, and he has lightning, but he doesn't have a saber. So he's a Force sensitive, doesn't use a saber, so I don't know where to go with him. Let's see, what else? Another thing they were inconsistent about was the armor, and I've got 2 things to say about the armor. The first one is how they were inconsistent. They got very lazy and inconsistent about the armor. So I'm going to go through here. And the Rebels customization, you pretty much just pick your person, and like they'll have like a player model, and then that player model will have 3 different haircuts you can choose from, or a helmet or something, right? And then there's like 10 people you can choose from, and then you can choose 3 hairstyles. And then later on you can get aliens. You can get like Twi'leks and Celestians and stuff like that. There's a few of them. And they picked really stupid aliens, first of all. Like, instead of picking the cool aliens, the only cool one is the Twi'lek. And then that's pretty much all you get. You get the aliens and the characters, and then the troopers get armor sets. But they made it really stupid, because the first unlock you get is at level 20. Here, I'll show you this. And this is a Stormtrooper with a black shoulder pad. They call it Stormtrooper Black, but all he does is have a black shoulder pad, because I can't show you the one right now. But yeah, it just the normal one depends on what map you are, but it's just a Stormtrooper. This one just adds a black shoulder pad, and then that's at level 20. At level 30, you get a white shoulder pad. Oh man! And then at level 40, you get the Scout Trooper, which is the first real armor change you get, which is cool. But you also can get the Stormtrooper Orange, which is the default Stormtrooper in most maps. And then at level 50, you get the Shadow Trooper. Well, first of all, the Shadow Troopers didn't actually look like that at first. They didn't just have black Stormtrooper armor with an insignia on their left chest, on the left of their chest. They had actual specialized armor, but they got lazy and just painted their whatever. And then at 50, you can also get the Stormtrooper Red, and then that's a Rebel uniform. My phone's just randomly stopping the video mid-video. Okay, so I was talking about the Shadow Trooper, and then you get a Shock Trooper, and you get more stuff. Either way, it's stupid because they wasted 5 skins on just recolors when they could have added more. They could have added, like, your unlocks are ridiculous. They make you wait so long to unlock stuff. They needed to add more and more customized stuff. There's so many different kinds of Imperial armor that they could have added to the game, but they didn't want to because they're lazy. They could have put in a Snow Trooper. You even get that if you're playing on Hoth and you have the default default Stormtrooper equipped. But I guess they didn't want to do that. That doesn't make any sense. You could have played as a Red Guard. No, not having the homing rocket and the smart rocket, but just the player model. And the same with the Death Trooper and stuff. And if you want to pull out the argument with the Snow Trooper, like, oh, well, that was only on Hoth. Well, the Death Star Trooper was only on the Death Star. And, you know, where's the other one? The Shadow Trooper was only on Scarif, but you can play as them. So they needed to add more. They needed to, and not have the unlocks at, 20, 30, 40, 50, 70. They needed to have it more spread out so you unlock more to encourage you to play, especially with a game that makes it so hard to level up, to make you get so much, XP. This game is grind central. You have to grind so hard to level up on this game and get something. So with that being said, they should add more unlocks at, more levels and not spaced out. And they're so inconsistent. You can play all these player models and aliens for the Rebels, and then you only get 3. You get the Rebel Officer, the Bespin Wing Guard, and the X-Wing pilot. And then the Stormtroopers, they get all these armor custom abilities, and you can't, take your helmet off. Which is stupid, because there's definitely the option. Because when you play offline or whatever, you can play this mode where you play against a hero, and the hero has infantry, and the Stormtroopers will come in the second wave without helmets, and they have different faces underneath. So they have that. They definitely have helmetless Stormtroopers, and they definitely have all these faces for the Rebels. So why not just let you go in here and pick what you want to do? Just be able to take your helmet on and off, and you can do it. You can obviously do it because you can do it on your Rebels, but not the Imperials. And they need to give the Rebels more uniforms. It just doesn't. It's so inconsistent and lazy with what they did. Also, when you're previewing these taunts, you can't hear what they say. Some of these are, I would buy some of these just because of what they've said, but I can't hear them. So, this game is just all over the place. It really is. There's a ton of things I could say about the weapons, but I'm not going to start on that. Either way, I just wanted to give some very valid points about how this game was either lazy, inconsistent, stupid, or just screwing you over or broken. And with that being said, I still love this amazing game because I am a huge Star Wars fan, and it is a great game. It is fun to play, but it's got a lot of things that make it broken. It's not necessarily... I'm not calling it a bad or a trash game, but it's definitely stressful, frustrating, and irritating, and it discourages you to play the game at all with the things that they put in. I think I gave my opinions on this game pretty well, and, had some strong points. If you have some other points, or if you have any, tips, maybe I don't know something, who knows, but hopefully they either fix it, or hopefully they make a new one, a new Star Wars Battlefront for the Clone Wars. Yes, I know they already did that, but I want to see what DICE and EA could do with it. Picture in my head with just General Grievous rolling in with his Magna Guards behind him is pretty awesome. Anyways, those are my ideas, and I'm going to try and start uploading more and upping the quality.